Oh, everybody, we have more information about the Candace Owens. I'm Georgian George, and we begin. Right, today was an interview with Piers Morgan invite Candace Owens about, and the questions was asked about is she anti-Semitic or what's going on about the accusations. And let's have a look what she answered. A second.
Is an American media personality who has been extremely critical of Israel. She fell out with Ben Shapiro on the Daily Wire. She was working for them. And she has also been a big supporter of Kanye West amidst all his controversy of articulating anti Semitism. But I want to show you an interview clip of Candace with Piers Morgan because it needs unpacking. Okay, this was just yesterday that this clip was released where Pierce was pressing her on her criticism of Israel, particularly in the way Israel's conducting her war against Hamas. And I really felt that her words needed unpacking. First of all, we're going to look at this question of the word genocide, because Pierce presses her on whether she thinks Israel is committing a genocide. She had put out tweets which some thought was implicitly suggesting that Israel had done that. She denied that, but then she also won't say that Israel isn't doing a genocide. And I want to just show you the conversation because what we'll do is hear her arguments and then see the moral and logical flaws in what she's saying, because these points really need unpacking. So have a watch of what she says when she's pressed on this genocide question, and then we'll unpack it.
Do you think, for the record, that what Israel's been doing constitutes genocide?
Well, what I've been having trouble is all of the people that are pro-Israel and say it's not a genocide won't tell me what is a genocide. What percentage of a population has to be killed before we can use the word genocide? It's a funny little thing. They won't tell you. They won't tell you what constitutes genocide. So I would like a clear understanding of how many Palestinians have to die before we are allowed to term it a genocide. All of the experts can't agree on what a genocide actually is, but they love to float around the word on virtually every other issue. I had Rabbi Barclay on my show, on one of my last shows when I was on the Daily Wire, and I asked him that question pointedly: what is genocide? Let us know, experts, what percentage of the population of Palestinians has to be killed before we are allowed to say that it's genocide. What I can tell you is I am completely uncomfortable and utterly against the amount of Palestinian innocent lives that have been lost in this conflict, particularly children. And any person who is fearful of stating that the death of innocent children has been utterly unacceptable is a coward.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I completely agree, but do you personally think it constitutes genocide, which is the deliberate...
What I'm saying to you is
I can tell you what
pursued on my show.
Yeah.
What is the number?
No, I understand.
What is the official number? That's it. I mean, somebody tell me and I'll give you an answer.
Well, I don't think there is a specific...
Try it when you have...
Well, it's not about a number.
Tons of people on both sides of the debate on.
Yeah, but it's not
No. What do you mean it's not a number?
Here's my answer.
And do they give you an answer?
Yes, it is not about the number, genocide. Genocide is the intention. In a war, many people die. For example, 500,000 Russians died in Ukraine, right? And Ukrainians don't say how much people died in Ukraine, but I assume a lot. Yeah, much more than in Gaza. So what should we call it? Genocide? No, this is a war.
Well, no, because here's the point. It's not about specific numbers. It's about an intent.
But it has to be.
Well, no, it's not. It's about an intent to eradicate.
That's not true, Piers, because in America, they say that Native Americans, it was a genocide committed by white men. This is what they say, right?
No, but I'm talking about what the definition of a genocide is.
But what I'm telling you is that would be incorrect, because the majority of Native Americans died from smallpox. It was accidental. Some 90% of the Native Americans that lived here died from smallpox, and it's considered a genocide.
No, I understand. I'm telling you what the definition of genocide is, which is not about a specific number in any circumstance. It's about an...
She don't care. She don't care. Because look, I'm not very pro-Jewish. I'm not pro-Israeli, right? But Candace, I was watching her interview with a rabbi. I watched her tweets in X. So I have to say she's go anti-Semitic. She don't like Jews. She don't like Jews. Yeah. And I'm a Christian, and I can feel this. She don't like Jews. And the way she was using the words you're gonna see in this interview later on, you will realize that.
Intent to target and eradicate a whole people based on their ethnicity.
I'm disputing that by telling you that they legally say within America that Native Americans, a genocide was committed against Native Americans. Factually speaking, 90% of them, 90 to 93% of them died from smallpox. So it was actually an epidemic, right? So is the definition shifting? Because it is my understanding from Rabbi Barclay that the definition of anti-Semitism shifts. So maybe the definition of genocide has shifted, but
let me
we are
read you.
also taught that genocide
let me read you the exact.
School,
let me read you the exact wording and see whether you think it applies to. Well, let me read you the exact definition of genocide from the Oxford English Dictionary: the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. So by that definition, do you believe that is what's happening to the Palestinian people and it's being perpetrated by Israel?
Well, I would say is that Israel has proven in the past that they can be very specific when they want to get somebody out, whether that's a hostage or any other certain military operation. And what I am seeing happening, forgetting the specific language of a genocide, is something that I'm using my platform to speak out against, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me what the media calls me. I've had every headline. I do not believe that they are being careful in what they are doing. I think it has been.
No, I think Candace, I think you were wrong. The media calls you only the things which you actually deserve. Yeah. Before they start calling you the names, you was quite happy to call the names others. Before you had the problem with the Ben Shapiro, looks like you was fine with the Jews too, right?
It seems to me that the destruction of the hospitals and the schools and of the UN buildings, would you say, Piers, that you believe that's unintentional?
I do not believe Israel's waging genocide. I think that.
Do you believe, but I'm asking you, do you believe that the targeting going room to room in the hospitals
well, no,
is
I'll be clear
intentional?
with you. I can answer the question. I have said repeatedly in the last few weeks and months that I think the proportionality of Israel's response is now unacceptable. And particularly since they decided to go into Rafah, a refugee camp that they set up, to then target Hamas in the middle of a refugee camp where you're bound to kill so many innocent civilians in the process, I think is unacceptable. But I'm just curious, given that you tweeted about genocide and no government ever has a right to do it, whether by your calculation from that definition, what Israel is doing is deliberately killing a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group.
Yeah, well, what I can say to you, again, because these definitions shift, I don't think we need to focus on the word, because I'm telling you what I believe. And my belief is that they are not being careful whatsoever. My belief is that there has been too much loss of Palestinian life.
But that's different to genocide, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but okay, that's fine. We don't need to. That's what I say. I don't know why you're like obsessing over this one word. It doesn't matter.
Well, because you tweeted about genocide.
Just like you told me.
I'm only trying to clear up
what is about Brian Mast. So you're harping on this issue. There's a lot more topics we should talk about. I'm being very clear in how I feel about this issue.
Right. Let's pause there for a second. Okay. So.
JTV, we're here on JTV.
This issue of genocide is, and we're going to go back to the video because there's a second point that I wanted to pick up on. This issue of genocide is really straightforward. Saying, when she says, well, what's the number? How many constitutes a genocide? Is such morally childish, logically childish and flawed language. This is what a genocide is. Very simple.
Intention.
If you are at peace with your neighbors, with another people, and that people wage war against their peaceful neighbors, another peaceful nation, with the intent to destroy them and eradicate them, that's genocide. But if you're reacting to another people that are trying to wage war on you and trying to destroy you, that's not genocide, that's war. Isn't that obvious? Isn't that the obvious definition?
Bro.
Isn't that the obvious moral position to have between the difference of...
Jay, my friend, I'm 100% with you. I'm 100. That's why I picked this video with you already. I could take straight away the interview, right? But because I like the way you dealt with all this controversy with Candace Owens anti-Semitism, is why I thank you for.
genocide and war. It's whether, was there peace beforehand? Was it two peaceful sides? And one, so that's what happened in World War II. The Nazis waged war against the Jews who were living peacefully with them, peacefully alongside them. And they said, we're gonna seek to destroy you. That's genocide. When we fought against the Nazis, when the Allies fought against the Nazis, it's not genocide, that's war. And that's what Israel's doing. And then you talk about the numbers. This is also where it's so flawed. Well, let's just imagine that in World War II, after the bombing of Dresden and all those German cities, the Nazis still didn't surrender. And we had to keep fighting them, even as they were more and more depleted. And a very large percentage of them had to be killed because they kept fighting, they kept resisting. There were still pockets of Nazism and Nazi military fighting. And we went after them. Would that be considered genocide? Even if it was very high numbers, even if it was a significant percentage. No, it wouldn't be genocide. Because they started it. They started the war. They started the provocation. They threatened everyone else's security. They went after other groups of people. And so we're having to destroy them. So it's not about numbers. It's about intent. It's about who started it. And while we're on the subject of numbers as well, it is frankly unacceptable anymore for people to be lamenting the fact that schools and buildings and hospitals and UN buildings are damaged in this war. When we're not talking about people here, we're talking about buildings. When we know full well, through first-hand evidence, that Hamas hide among civilian buildings. The UNRWA, the UN organization, was complicit, helping to hide hostages, to fight, to help Hamas. I mean, this is so obvious, and to be ignoring that is to be willfully blind, and to say that that's not a legitimate target. Similarly with Piers Morgan saying that they can't go into Rafah. Israel's been doing all they can to protect non-Hamas fighters. But
I have to agree with Ajay. What do you mean you can't go to Rafah? So what does that mean? They did the 80% of their job and they're about to finish, and you guys telling him don't go to the Rafah because again the Hamas hide the behind the population? Come on. Yeah.
They are Rafah is a legitimate target for as long as Hamas are fighting there. When they start,
and if you say who's gonna blame God, if somebody needs to blame, it's Hamas. Look, every normal army in the world, yeah, are standing in front of the people. Who hides behind? And I don't understand these people. If these people not together with this Hamas, why then no exposing them? So what does that mean? So they are together? Are they hiding together? Are they helping them to hide? Nobody wants to talk about this. Nobody, unfortunately.
their genocidal campaign against Israel. They're the ones who are genocidal, not Israel. Israel's fighting the war to defend herself, to protect her people, to reclaim her hostages, and it's just and it's right. And this issue of numbers, let's just be clear. Israel has been more surgically precise than any other army has in the history of urban warfare. We're seeing from military experts such as Lord Andrew Roberts, one of the world's greatest military historians, and from the data that we're seeing about Hamas fighters killed, and from Israel's own projections of how much longer they think the military operation is going to need to take. I saw Colonel Richard Kemp, former commander of the British Army in Afghanistan, reporting in Israel saying that most of the IDF's military goals have been achieved now. Now the large-scale operation is going to start to wind down. And what have we seen in terms of those killed? What's the ratio been? Unheard of in urban warfare. In modern warfare, quite frankly. We're seeing a 1-to-1, roughly 1-to-1 ratio of civilian to combatant killed. By the way.
All right, guys, I have to say one second. Let me move up. To say, I have to agree with Joe. Yeah. Okay, sorry. And a few more things. Candace Owens in this interview is putting Ukrainian President Zelensky the same level with Vladimir Putin, saying that Zelensky is corrupt. Look, you can call Zelensky who you wanna call, but he's not the corrupt. He's not corrupt. Can be in Ukraine corrupted people, some politician, yes. Zelensky, not. This is why the people, the Western countries, still trust in him and they send him money. If they knew he was a corrupt and he's wasting the money, nobody would help him anymore. And this is crucial for him, and he knows that. So for this, I'm gonna finish. Thank you very much for watching. Write in a comment what do you think about it, and I hope the war will stop very soon in Gaza and the Ukraine. Bye for now. Oh, I forgot. Every time forget. You are on the channel. Migrant Chronicles. Brother, if you are a foreign national, you need to subscribe. If you wanna learn English quickly, if you wanna make a British friend, if you wanna know some news about the immigration rules, how to get it legalized, and all kind of stuff, how to find the work, please subscribe. We'll have some news for you here. Bye for now. Migrant Chronicles, yeah, on YouTube.